Two men sit across each other. The game they're playing is risky. 1 bullet, 6 attempts. Now, I know what you're thinking. When you get the gun, just pull 6 times and voila, you're saved. But maybe that's a bit risky. What about if there are only 2 triggers left? The gun is in your hand and, well, the odds are a little bit slimmer now for you to survive. Would you break the rules then? What about if there's only 1 trigger left? If you pull it, you die. Would you break the rules then? Some of you already know how we do it here. We narrate, we analyze, we often judge, and we always pretend that we know better and would do better. Hopefully. Gihan is staring at the eyes of the recruiter, the man who preys on the vulnerable and invites them to play the game. He's looking for a particular type, those in need, those that feel like they're at the bottom and there's no way out. Now, what they don't know is that in the game, they're actually risking their own life. Now, what kind of person do you have to be to go around, prey on the vulnerable people, get them to play a game when you know there's a 99.8% of chance of you getting eliminated? Well, simple. It's their choice. You see, people always choose the least probable option, no matter the risk, as long as there is potential to win big. Offer a homeless person to choose between a lottery ticket and food. What do you think? Which one will they choose? To no surprise of the recruiter, most of the people chose the lottery ticket. And each time the lottery ticket actually turned out to be empty, is it the recruiter's fault that the homeless person didn't get anything? Not even the food? Did he make them choose the lottery ticket? Well, it's clear. People are not driven by need. They are driven by greed. They gamble on a dream. They are opportunists, scavengers, willing to risk everything for that money.
이 빵을 버린 건 제가 아니라 선생님들입니다.
Wasn't his father the same trash as all the others? Valued money so much, he was risking his life, his family for it? But that's the thing, isn't it? His father, as many others, don't think that they will be the one who will lose. They're the special ones, right? They're gonna win. So why would he feel any remorse when he had to eliminate his father?
우리 아빠가 막 살려달라고 눈물을 흘리면서 날 간절하게 쳐다보는데.
First thing that I want to explore a little bit more is the recruiter's beliefs about people and how his little experiment of, food versus the lottery ticket almost reinforced his beliefs of how people are greedy. Now, I want to ask you first. If you watched the series, how did you feel about this very moment? I'm going to be very honest. The first thought that came or that went through my mind was typical. And then I remembered that there are also some other impacts that influence people to do certain things. We're going to get into that. But before we go into that, I want to seriously know, have you ever experienced trying to help a homeless person, let's say, with food, and they just refused it and wanted you to give them some cash? How did it make you feel? Were you like, Bis? You didn't. Did it make you feel upset? Did it make you feel like they are greedy and they should be grateful for your help? For you to even pass in this one short moment and offer them food? First thing, when you live in poverty or when you live in constant scarcity of how you're gonna survive. Now, this can be even like very, let's say, not homeless type poverty, but even normal paycheck to paycheck living, when you're thinking about money, what you shouldn't buy in order to pay the rent and so on, that's a lot of stress. Those are so many decisions that you need to do that are kind of exhausting. Now, add to that actually being homeless. Do you think that in that state, it is easy to reject quick money? The hope that maybe with just one decision, with one choice, all of your life can change. All the struggles that you keep on facing will be gone just like that. Bis, don't think that you wouldn't, okay? Hopefully, we will never have to experience anything like that, but I would say it's very expected. Imagine thinking about long-term success. Okay, imagine you. Let's say you want to quit your job, you want to open your business and, try something new. Just the idea, sometimes just the idea of thinking all the steps that need to be done in order for you to get there, you're just like, "Oh, I want to hire someone to do all of this for me." But then you also kind of realize that you don't have money. So you're kind of like, you know what? I'm totally fine with my work. Okay, I love my job. That's it. And you don't even struggle with getting your basic necessities met, right? So imagine someone who is homeless. The very idea of waiting it out, of having long-term strategy of how to, change your life is so overwhelming that when someone brings that quick solution, you're like, yes, I'm going to try that. Offering food versus lottery ticket is not about, the person is greedy, they don't want to be happy with food. It's about what the lottery ticket actually represents. One option is this immediate satisfaction. Okay, I get food and I fulfill the need that I have right now. The other option is a chance for you to not only get this momentarily satisfaction and getting fed, but to actually change your whole life. Aren't we all always picking the things that will have the possibility of something better? Isn't that how we are even trained? Now, that might be the system, right? The system itself might give you this false sense of things being better to always keep you stuck. That's a discussion in itself. Are these dreams and hopes for better actually something that inspires you to do more, or does it just keep you stuck because you don't reach it and then you feel even worse about yourself and so on? But maybe that's a topic for another thing. So if you look from that point of view, isn't choosing lottery ticket actually the strategical choice, even though it has a lot of risk attached, right? Lottery, who's going to win the lottery? But when you are in a position where when you're kind of hopeless about that anything will ever actually change, picking a lottery ticket means that you're thinking more than just this immediate satisfaction. But somehow we decide that just because this person is already in such need, they should be grateful to just get something small, right? Like I said, you might feel like, oh my God, this person is so greedy and they should not get any help, because if they would actually need something, then they would take the sandwich I brought them. The thing is that behind it all, there's much more than just this simple choice. What a person might be after is still a sense of autonomy, that they have control over their own choices and decisions, despite the environment not giving them any choice. So next time, think about your own righteousness when you feel like you're the one who knows what is best for these people when they want to exercise their own independence in choosing something. And I know the most common answer is, but they want it for alcohol and so on. And to that, yes, there could be truth to that, which makes them stuck even more. But on the other hand, we are there for just that passing moment. But this is their life. Okay, so I wouldn't be so righteous in trying to be smart about how they should live or what should be the choices. Even though, like I said, when I was watching Squid Games and this was like the first scene or in the first episode, I was like, Bis, you better pick that bagel. And then I had to kind of, wait, let me think about this a little bit more logically. So if we now position ourselves from the perspective that the recruiter has, he is positioning himself as someone who gives the choice to these people. But he fails to realize, and as some of us fail to realize, that the choice we are giving or he is giving is actually a false choice. As I said before, it's not as simple as food versus lottery. But because this is such an easy way to judge people, the recruiter feels like he's in the right. People are so needy, they would even risk food, in this case, for the chance of winning money. He doesn't understand that what he's actually offering to them is, don't be hungry right now, or a chance to not be hungry ever again. For the recruiter, there's no risk in playing this game. He's just testing his own beliefs and proving himself that this is how the world actually is. But for the person who is choosing between the two things, I mean, they're risking a lot. What if that lottery ticket is actually a chance for them to change their whole life? Sneaky, sneaky. Now, Gihan was also one of those people, desperate enough to join the game. The game Gihan actually won. It made him a billionaire. But playing the game turned out to be much more expensive than his life. It was the lives of others. He was the only survivor out of 456 people. That's why he is tracking down the master, because he is gonna put a stop to playing this game of rich people who torture those less fortunate for fun because they're bored. And the recruiter? Well, the recruiter is the dog that will take him to the master. Now, why did Gihun even decide to play the Russian roulette with the recruiter? It's kind of risky, but maybe that's his only choice. I mean, he was looking for the recruiter for the last 2 years, and the only time he actually caught him is when the recruiter came to him.
오랜만입니다, 성균 씨.
It's clear that who's in power here is the recruiter. So, bitch, better play the game. The second question I wanted to understand is, why does the recruiter offer to play a game with Gihan? To play the Russian roulette? I mean, clearly he's in control here. If it wasn't for his decision, Gihan probably never would have found him. We learn a couple of things about the recruiter. So he was actually very young when he started to work for the game. He was someone who had to clean the mess after the losers had to be eliminated. It looks like what started with "this is so inhumane" quickly became "this is nothing. These people are trash. These bodies are trash."
이 세상에서 아무짝에 쓸모없는 쓰레기다.
Probably dissociating himself in order to be able to do the work. But that also influenced how he then grew up further and how he saw the world. Or maybe he was a sociopath from the beginning. We do not know that. After some time, he actually got promoted to be the one who eliminates the losers. And when he got that position, he felt for the first time that he actually mattered.
생전 처음 내 존재를 인정받은 것 같아서.
He might have developed a certain godlike attitude, you know? He's the one who has the control over life or death, not being someone who is just a victim to fate, but the one who has control. And that might be the attitude that he had when he became a recruiter. He positioned himself and the people who participate or who created the game and make the game possible are the ones who see the truth, while others who decide to play the game are just worthless. We also don't know if the slap game that he actually played with people and based on that, enticed them to want to play the big game was something that he invented or was something that was told to do. But either way, it reinforced his beliefs again. People are willing to abandon their morals and even lose their dignity for a chance of winning. Now, again, did he created a false choice? Because that's what serves his beliefs. So him playing a game with Gihan, exposing himself and offering to play the game where he's risking his own life could be because he feels like he's untouchable, that he will actually win this. The fact that Gihan actually won the game is not because he is special, right?
그 게임에서 우승하셨다고 무슨 특별한 사람이라도 된 것 같으세요?
He is a trash like everyone else and he just got lucky, which again supports the theory that why he offered to play a game with Gihan is because it reinforces this belief that he is in control and Gihan is just a product of luck, right? There's no way he's actually gonna lose this game, which is kind of interesting because isn't he himself now playing a game despite the obvious risk? The practical solution would be to just, do his thing and go on his merry way to recruit other people. And yet, he decides to choose the risky path.
저랑 게임 한번 하시죠.
We could say that he himself lost any understanding of the risk he's taking by entering this game. Similar to how he pitted the homeless people choosing the riskier path. And when there's only 1 in 2 chances of survival, the gun is in Gi-han's hands. The choice is obvious, or the opportunity is obvious. Pull the trigger and survive. But if he does that, if he breaks the rules, then he'll have to admit one thing. He's no better than all the other trash out there that would do anything for survival, even at the expense of another life.
운이 좋아서 겨우 폐기 처리를 면한 쓰레기.
Click. Whew, he survived. Maybe he didn't plan for it, but he did. And then I needed to understand, well, what were Gi-han's motivations to continue the game? I mean, like I said, he had a gun. It was 1 to 2 chances of him surviving or not surviving, and yet he still pulled the trigger aiming at himself. Then luckily, he survived, because also it's a show and he's the main protagonist, so he needed to continue somehow. Don't you think? But the fact that he sacrificed his whole life, he abandoned his daughter again in the pursuit of ending the game, and yet in this very moment, he was risking his life to again not do anything, right? Think about it. He lost his life. He was looking for this guy for 2 years. He wants to destroy the game. But then in this moment, he is willing to risk his life and not accomplish any of that for, one might say, again, for his own principles, right? You see, Gi-hun never actually killed anyone to win the game. Even at the end, when it was just him and his friend left, and it was so easy for Gi-hun to just end it there and be the winner, he decided to spare his friend's life. Unfortunately, the friend didn't feel the same, and he unalived himself. So why would he go back on his morals and beliefs right now? Now, maybe he is trying to show the recruiter that not all people are trash and not everyone is willing to sacrifice other people for their own gain. Or maybe he was trying to prove that to himself. I mean, there is a sense of guilt that follows you when 455 people lost their lives for you to be a billionaire. Though if you think about it, didn't he just do that right now? He risked his life at the expense of all the people who are going to play the game again, and he didn't stop it. In a way, it even shows how you yourself, when you are so strong in your beliefs, you almost get caught in certain decisions and certain games, not realizing that by that very game or that very decision, you are also betraying what you are actually after. Now, another thing that could be driving him is the potential resentment he is still feeling from the ending of the first season. So when he won the game, he at the end had a chance to figure out or to get to know who is actually the brains behind the first game. So they were in this building and this master was actually on the verge of dying, right? And there was a homeless person lying outside. And the master wanted to kind of bet or play this game of seeing if anyone will actually stop and help this person, or will they all just pass him, confirming that humanity is lost, right? That some lives just don't matter. That's how the system is built. Gi-han, on the other end, is hoping that someone will help this homeless person because he does want to, believe that people will help each other, right? That just because someone is in poverty, it doesn't mean that their lives are worth nothing. Midnight strikes, and as the master actually dies, takes his final breath, a person comes and helps the homeless person. Now, according to Gi-han, the master knew that someone came, but he did not want to accept. He did not want to accept that there is still good in humanity. How could he accept the fact that what they are doing with this game is actually wrong?
당신도 봤지.
So coming back to facing the recruiter, he maybe wanted that this time the recruiter cannot escape what Gi-han is showing him. He cannot escape the very fact that his beliefs might be wrong, or from his perspectives are wrong. So he wanted to face him. He wanted to show how he himself chose not to sacrifice the recruiter's life for his own benefit. Now, again, this reasons position Gihan as someone who is morally good, who is in general a good person, who would not abandon his values and would not sacrifice another person for his own benefit, right? What we all want, what we all hope this system and this world to be. But the problem is, again, it doesn't take away the stupidity of it all. He's being selfish in trying to prove to this person that, he's wrong, risking that he won't be able to save all the 455 people who will enter the game again. So the question becomes, can Gi-hun ever escape playing the game? And is playing the game his choice, or he is forced to do it? Is he actually fighting for the greater good, which to me is a bit challenged with the fact that he just risked his life? Or is he fighting to relieve himself of the guilt he might be feeling, or he is feeling? Now it's the recruiter's time. And let's see if he's gonna be the one who breaks the rules. One bullet, one shot. I mean, the outcome is obvious. So why does recruiter not break the rules? Why does he willingly pull the trigger aiming at himself with a little smile at the end? Which brings me to the third question that I want to understand. Why did he not break the rules knowing that he is actually going to unalive himself? Why did he still continue to play the game? Now, one thing is that the recruiter is always shown to play by the rules or to obey the rules. His whole identity and essence could be very much tied to the game and to the rules itself. So breaking the rules, it's almost like losing his identity, right? That's just not something he's gonna do because that's a part of him. Following orders. There is also a sense of control that he gets from following the rules, but almost enforcing other people to follow the rules. If we think about the slap game, right? It never happens that he gets slapped. He just offers money. But he loves how he can slap people because they lost the game. So by following the rules and not breaking them, even at the cost of his own life, could give him a sense of control till the end. Like, I am of control of the decision that I'm going to make. Again, failing to realize that that's a false sense of control because you're doing it because the game asks you to do it, right? So it almost feels that his identity was built on the false sense of control. Yet he thinks that he is in the control. In a way, as let's say the system fails people who are in poverty, his system is failing him right now. Or maybe his smile at the end revealed that he actually understood that. He understood the irony and cynicism of the game he played, thinking he is in control, even feeling superior to those who lost. And yet, this time, he lost himself simply by fate, confirming that the control he thought he had was indeed an illusion. There is another question. Is Gi-hun actually mistaken that he proved the recruiter wrong? You see, the recruiter hated his dad, his father, and saw him as loser and as trash when his father himself actually abandoned the family, joined the game, risked his life for a chance to win big, right? That's his belief. What about if he is looking at Gi-hun right now and he sees the same person? The person who abandoned his family for a chance to win big. Despite hating the game, he himself is now playing another game. Hero versus the villain. Maybe that smile at the end wasn't about him and him realizing how he was wrong. Maybe it was about the irony of how Gi-hun thinks that he is any better, just confirming his beliefs, and maybe on some level, he just didn't want to live in that world anymore. Exploring all of this, We could say that both Gihan and the recruiter are dealing with some internal conflicts that mess them up a little bit. The recruiter is convinced that he is not evil because he is giving people a choice. But he fails to see how he is desperate to prove that they will choose wrongly. On the other hand, Gihan hates the game. He wants to do everything to stop the game from happening. And yet he continues to play. Potentially both of them showing how easy it is to make questionable choices when you are driven by proving yourself right. And yes, this was a life and death kind of situation, but how many of us do certain choices to reinforce what we already believe, and we purposely avoid taking the choice that would prove us wrong? So in the end, Gihan's decision to, let's say, spare the recruiter and the recruiter to spare Gihan, and both of them to follow the rules, not break it, right? Even if they're risking their own life, potentially reveals how deep does the human need for control and meaning actually goes. Despite thinking that they are in power and they're in autonomy, both of their choices, both of their decisions were heavily influenced by their environment, by their experience, by their beliefs, and by their morals. And like I said, maybe even trapped by the desperate need to prove themselves right. And that's maybe the point of the games we play. And it's not so much about winning or losing, but it's about what it actually reveals about our own fears and desires, or what actually drives us. You know, it's easy to say that someone is just greedy, and it's a little bit more challenging to actually look at the full picture and how those decisions are actually being formed. If we live in a world, or if we grow up in an environment that barely offers us any choices, maybe that's all that we can actually do. Stand by our morals and our beliefs. How much real choices do we actually have if we are in a world or in an environment that barely offers any real choice? Gihan right now, is he forced to pursue the master and ending the game at the expense of his family, or he doesn't really have a choice because the choice to not pursue the game means that he is letting all those people die, knowing they will die? Let me know in the comments below. How do you feel about all of these analyses? What were the things that pop into your head and are relevant for discussion? And what does Squid Game and all of this tell about us, or say about us? Does it even say anything about us? Or are we just having fun analyzing things? On the season review note, I'm gonna be honest, Squid Game Season 1 was perfection. This one was a little, didn't go that deep. But I'm still hopeful that this was just a setup for the Season 3. And then we're gonna get shook it again. This time, some of the decisions were kind of like, okay, let's go with it because we need to go with it. And as always, remember, trust your individuality.